So, today I'm going to be doing a GPO fighting style tier list. This is for update 8, seeing as Cyborg has just recently been added. I thought I would do a tier list to see which are the best fighting styles in the game. Now, when you mention tier list, there's obviously various ways you can go. You can either have a tier list for PvP, a tier list for PvE, or a tier list for both. I am mainly going to be focusing on PvE in this video, so that's like grinding from level 1 to max, or like farming bosses, anything like that, anything that these could be good for. One last thing before I actually start making this tier list is that you will see some of these guys down here are from GPO, and some of these guys are just from One Piece itself. That's because it's kind of hard to find the actual fighting style image on Google without me having to actually go get the fighting style myself, which would require spinning races and whatnot. So I decided to get the corresponding one from the anime itself. So for example, Sabo is Dragon Claw, Rob Lucci is Rokashiki, Jinbei is Fish McCarty, so on and so forth. So straight away in S tier, I'm going to put Blackleg. Blackleg goes straight away in S tier. Now this is technically Demon Step, however I'm going to classify Demon Step and Blackleg as its own thing, or the same thing, just because you need Blackleg to get a Demon Step. Some could argue them as being the same fighting style in total, but I'm just going to put it in there. S tier, because it's just a really good fighting style to get from level 1 to max level with. If you get the max amount of M1 damage, you can be doing like 40 something per M1, which for fighting style is just crazy. So if you are getting from level 1 to max level, I'd highly recommend you use Blackleg if you don't have anything else. Now I'm also going to put 1 and 2 sword style up in S tier, because once again 1 sword style is very similar to 2 sword style. They are both kind of the same, however these ones have different trainers. They are completely different fighting styles. You cannot have one and have the other, whereas with Demon Step you can have Blackleg, but you can also have Demon Step at the same time. But both of them going in S tier because they're also very similar. They also have both pros and cons. For example, 1 sword style has a higher M1 scaling, whereas 2 sword style has a lower M1 scaling, so you won't be doing as much M1 damage even with 2 katanas. However, the moves on 2 sword style just look phenomenal. They just look amazing. But they are also what you should be using to level up stuff and to fight bosses, because they are really good. I also speak from experience. I went from level 1 to max level with 1 sword style and 2 sword style, and it was just I recommend it. I would recommend Blackleg over it if you're leveling up at least, but they're also a good fighting style to use. Now I don't know why I didn't start off with this one. I have the normal melee. So you start off the game and you start off with the normal melee attack with heavy punch and gut punch. Those are the 2 moves. And you cannot get this fighting style back once you get another fighting style. So straight away, this is going in D tier. It is useless. You only really use it at the very beginning of the game until you got enough for either Blackleg or 1 sword style. Or if you're Mink or Fishman, you can get Electro, Fishman Karate, whatever. However, it's going in D tier. It is useless. If you still have this and like you've got a fruit or whatever, then I mean it's pretty rare. You're barely going to see anyone with it. That's max level at least. Now I'm going to go to Rokashiki next, and if we're talking about Rokashiki on its own, it is pretty bad. However, if we talk about it using it as a power, like with a fruit, for example, say you've got Magu, you know, you get the Soru dashes, you get Geppo. There is also the Geppo trainer, so Geppo doesn't really take any effect here. However, you get Soru with Rokashiki, which is probably its bonus. However, it's still a pretty bad fighting style. You wouldn't use it for grinding, fighting bosses, anything like that. So I'm probably just going to put that in C tier. It is also just pretty bad on its own, at least. If you have something else with it, it can be pretty decent. Now this is a hard choice for me, because these are the 3 that I have the least experience with: Electro, Fishman, and Dragon Claw. Now from what I've seen, Fishman can be good in PvP. However, this is PvE. I don't know how good it is in PvE itself. However, I would argue that all 3 of these are A tier. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put all 3 of these in A tier, just because I don't really have much experience with them at all. However, from what I've seen, they are pretty good at least, but just not as good as Blackleg and Sword Style. Also, real quick, whenever I do tier lists, I don't bother aligning them from left to right. Left to right doesn't mean anything. I just say if they're in that tier, they're all on the same level. However, in S tier, I would say Blackleg is better than Sword Style. However, if, say, I put Rokashiki up there, if I put it there, it wouldn't mean anything at all. Now, the last one is Cyborg. This is the newest fighting style in the game, came out with update 8. And this is probably what a lot of you are probably here to see. Where does it fit on this list? And I would say Cyborg goes straight up in S tier. I would say Cyborg is a really good fighting style. It's got a flight, first off, which, you know, what other fighting style has a flight? And also the fact that there's the Geppo trainer, so you don't need Geppo at all anymore. So you've got a flight and Geppo, so 2 movements. The flight isn't too fast. It's about the same speed as Pika, or no, not Pika. It's about the same speed as Suna Flight. It looks very similar to it as well. But the moves, they look good, first off. But the moves are actually decent themselves. Like, I think it's got 2 barrage moves. The ultimate is a homing, so, you know, it's impossible to miss the ultimate. So I would put it in S tier. Obviously, you know, it's a tier list. This is also based off opinion. So obviously, you know, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. What would you put on where? Anyway, yeah, that's it for this video. This is my tier list with Blackleg and both the sword styles and Cyborg being in S tier. We've got Dragonclaw, Fishman, and Electro in A tier, Nothing in B tier, Rookshik in C tier, and the normal melee fighting style in D tier. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, click that bell so you never miss a video, join the Discord down below in the description, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.